Okay. I believe we are live. Just double check. All right. Cool. We are live. There we go. Right. Audio is working. So, alrighty then. Well, wait for everyone to tune in to catch up. I think I set the right. Joey, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. Audio coming through all right. I hope so. I think I had everything set up correctly, ready to rock and roll. All right. Ow. Yes, I believe everything is still, should be good. Yes. Okay, we're good. I'm gonna double check, make sure everything's actually coming through appropriately. Sweet. Good to hear. Good to hear. Checking off a few little things, a couple little upgrades needed to knock out and get ready. Okay. Actually, I don't need those, but I need these ones. Just knocking out a little quick upgrade here, swapping out some portal covers, getting everything ready for a new Class 1. Because the bug is actually spoken for, just waiting to get picked up. So, and naturally, Crawl Palooza is less than, right at a month away now. So, naturally, it's kind of panic build mode. Kind of going through everything and trying to get a build and everything else ready to rock and roll, because I don't have a Class 1 now. So, you can, I think you saw, some people saw my post, but Brett on the Brazen Scale live stream one night with the microfiber towel set, I was a sucker. I found some at Walmart and I got them. Esrom, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. Doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Well, as we can, just kind of going around, you know, getting some stuff caught up and whatnot. So should be all right. Just some, you know, some last minute changes, gathering parts and everything else to get a new Class 1 built before Crawl Palooza. So everything, actually, if Brett pops in later, I should be able to open or pull out the care package we got from Brazen Scale RC today. Nice little mail day. After honestly, kind of it's been a long week. Joey, where's the Mountain Dew I always have? In the fridge, actually. I pulled out my my last Mountain Dew earlier and realized, I was like, oh no, it's not cold. So my mom was headed over to hang out for a little bit, so I had her bring me a Sonic drink. Jason, what's up, man? How's it going? Thanks for tuning in. David, what's up? Sitting here watching you, working on my Rock Parts Interceptor Vanquish Portal build. Fit in the body, then paint. Very nice. Always good to have a nice, fresh build going. We actually tore down our my Rock Pirate build. In that, well, it's not tore down in the video, but we tore it down for the last video to get the moon buggy all done, which came out absolutely amazing. So happy with the way that build came out. Steve, good evening, everyone. It's almost Friday. It is almost Friday. Unfortunately, this is my one Saturday of the month to work. We used to work every other Saturday, and then we've changed it lately, so we are, since there's 4 masters rounds, they rotated at least 1 master every Saturday, so now we just work once a month, basically, which is pretty nice. And actually, it's going to be really nice this next month because my next weekend that I am supposed to work actually happens to fall on Crawl Palooza's weekend, naturally. So I traded around for another weekend, so I will actually have almost 2 months off from working on Saturdays. So that'll be really nice and just convenient and relaxing. But I do work this Saturday, and they're only like half days, so it's nothing super crazy. So. Just checking some updates from the WRCCA Worlds that's going on right now. Looks like everyone's having a good time. They just finished up P-Scale today, and I think Mini was the other one going on. So definitely good if anyone happens to be tuning in for Worlds or out there that way. Best of luck. Hope everyone's having a good time for sure. That would be a fun one to someday get to go to. Joey. The VS410 buggy looks right. Yeah, I am tickled to death at how the buggy came out. So definitely, like I mentioned in that video, that was one that I've wanted to have for quite some time. Just hadn't got around to it, and then RC Speedy started making them where they had them available, basically ready to ship. So I snagged one. So, came out pretty good. Yeah, so, quick and easy. So, got a set of some F10 portals here, ready to rock and roll to go on the next class 1. But I wanted some of the brass, so I got some of the low profile brass covers from Vanquish. So, definitely helps for the class 1 to get all the fitment and everything in there as tight as possible. But yeah, like I mentioned earlier in the video, the class 1, unfortunately, it's spoken for. It's just waiting to be picked up. The only thing I'm saving off of it are my wheels and tires because of those wheels and tires, because you can't necessarily get your hands on them right now. So I am keeping them. And other news, we also got some of the copper 1.9s from shipped as well. And I have them wrapped with the J. Consum's hunk tire because the hunk is less than 4 inches tall, which is the maximum tire for Class 0 at Crawl Palooza. So we have a set of Class 0 tires ready to rock and roll, which I would be rolling on the Class 0 project right now, except because I did sell my Class 1. The parts I was accumulating for the Class 0, I'm having to steal and move around to get them ready for a new Class 1. So the Class 0, actually right now, it's still going to happen before Crawl Palooza, but I don't think I was going to build one on a... move some stuff around. I was going to build it on a Brazen C1 Pro, but I'm taking some of this stuff for the new Class 1 chassis. So I think what I'm going to do, I really am considering putting the Class 0 build on the Brazen pace setter. The rules allow it. The rules do not specify a flat skid for Class 0. So I'm thinking about putting it on there because everything's ready to rock and roll. I already have big servo in here. I got the winch and everything's in there, and I just made some room here. On the pace setter, I did swap out the stock transmission for a Team Garage Hack Creeper T transmission. And actually don't know. Yes, I do have it. So here's the stock SCX10 Pro transmission. Actually, there we go. So here's the stock SCX10 Pro transmission, and again, we changed it to that Creeper T. So considerable size difference and weight difference there. Instead, this is really nice because it does have the little shift lever here for 0% or high overdrive. And I built it locked into high overdrive and never changed it. So I was like, well, then we're just going to put a Creeper T in here with 30% overdrive and call it good. And also, in addition to that, I also got some of the new Voodoo Team Odd6 90mm shocks to try out. And all of a sudden I was like, well, actually, because they only offer them in 90mm right now, and they actually don't have many builds that use 90mm shocks. And I was like, the Pro does. So we put them on the Pro, got them all filled with oil, and they feel pretty good. I think they're going to be a pretty decent shock. Hopefully this weekend I might take this out and have a little bit of fun with it. I said normally it runs my buckwheat body, but if I do decide to Class 0 this thing, I won't be using the buckwheat. I do have that LC70 body that I will use in its place, so we'll see how that goes. The LC70, I did get it all assembled and everything a couple weeks ago before we went down to Apex. So I said I just got to get some stuff rolling, and honestly fitment on here might be pretty easy, but the other thing I might do is just put the pace setter back to the way it was and put it on a VS410 Phoenix. So I have the Phoenix straight axle RTR. It's ready to rock and roll. Everything's good on it. I also have most of a VS410 Phoenix minus the axle. So if I can snag another set of F10 portals before Crawl Palooza, I'll probably just build the Class 0 on it. Phoenix and VS410 on portals, it'll do just fine in Class 0. So lots of stuff coming on. Steve, I worked last week and this one's free. Nice. Always good. Always good. Toby, what's up, man? How's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Oh, Joe, yes, like I mentioned, yes, I have the new Phoenix RTR that I picked up a couple weeks ago, and I do have most of my other Phoenix. I'm just still missing some axles. I need to try to snag a set. Chainsaw, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. JP, how's it going? I'll be at Crawl Palooza for Friday. It's my first big event. Still trying to decide if I want to compete or just watch and film. Crawl Palooza is pretty fun. And Friday is Class 1 and 3. So it's the more laid-back day because generally Class 1 and 3 are the smaller classes as far as competitor numbers. Crawl Palooza is fun. It really is. And the rules are very, very simple. Very, very simple to get into and compete and stuff like that. You know, the biggest thing with Class 1 for Crawl Palooza is it needs to be a hard body. So, it's pretty fun and laid back. If not, honestly, there might be enough people there with some extra trucks. Maybe you let you drive one. Actually, I could mention I'm in the rush of getting that new Class 1 built, so we're good. How much do those wheels cost? Which wheels? The pink ones or the copper ones or another set of wheels? What sliders are those? On the S610 Pro, they are, if you go to Harley Designs, his actual website, in his 3D file section, he has those available for the S610 Pro. They're actually a 2-piece slider. I just have the outer piece off because it fits the buckwheat body better. Wrecker Ralph, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. What's up, man? Good seeing you. Good hearing from everybody. Ivan, how's it going? Dan the RC Man, how's it going? Running in a bit late. It's all good. I took a couple weeks off, so perfectly fine. The copper ones, I think they're like your standard like Vanquish wheel price. I think they're like $60 or $65 a set, a pair. So times 2. Red Dirt RC Crawlers, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in, buddy. Long time no see. You're going to Crawl Palooza, right, Jeremy? I know, I'm pretty sure we talked about this at Apex, but I just need to confirm. Actually got quite a bit on here, probably for the next, my updates from the bench. I have, I like the Silent ESCs. Everything's nice and quiet. The Silent Assassins, my jam. And then I've been using, in the hide when I built it, I used the Dinky RC ESC, which has worked out really good. But since picked up a couple more. So one, we have the new ESC from EXO RC, which is again another Silent ESC. Again, construction, everything's very similar. All these are all AM32 based ESCs, but I got the ESC. We have a BEC for it, and one thing, if you do look at purchasing the EXO and you run direct power servos, you will need a little diode or a little capacitor of some sort. Protects the servos from voltage spikes. Even though most of these servos can handle extremely high voltage, a voltage spike can still do some damage. And then also, from another Silent ESC, we picked up the new Holmes Crawlmaster V3. Design and everything is very, very similar to the Rhino Crawler ESC that I tried. And when I could get the ESC to calibrate and bind and everything like that, the ESC worked really, really good. I just had the damnedest time setting that ESC up and getting everything calibrated. So, and knowing that Holmes has got in here with his own program and stuff like that, I have a feeling this is going to be much smoother, a much better design. So I'm wondering if maybe possible I can flash the Rhinos with the Holmes software and then be good to go. So again, another Silent ESC option for our world. And the last one I did pick up one more. This is the Dinky RC, the D-Drive Sport ESC. Again, Silent and I had them go ahead and put in their own mini BEC. So I don't need an additional one for my receiver, so that's really good. And the Holmes one also comes with a built-in BEC to power that receiver and everything. So hopefully that'll be on the next one. I will probably use I'll probably try the Holmes one on the new Class 1. I need to go through. I'm pretty sure I have an extra yellow jack laying around here somewhere. So I need to snag it and get it going, or I need to get me another Three Brothers order in. Probably wouldn't be a bad idea because I think I'm out of G13 Pros. So I definitely need more of those. Red Dirt. Oh yeah, good, sweet. Definitely be good to see you again there. Down at Crawl Palooza, based on size, it looks like. Yeah, it is. As a matter of fact, here is the Rhino 80 amp. No, here's the Rhino 40 amp ESC. So this is the size of the 40. So Rhino 40 amp and the Holmes V3. So again, very, very similar. Design, everything there looks pretty good though. So like I said, I'm definitely feeling this one, the Holmes one, already, just because I know Holmes he's a very, very smart man. He is an absolute genius when it comes to this type of stuff. So, hoping his software, he threw his own little tweaks in there so it'll be good and ready to rock and roll. And maybe there's a chance I can flash the Rhinos with the Holmes software and make them better. That would be the ultimate goal as far as getting that stuff underway. I'm running out of room. But always good to have some ESCs. I was going to flash it with the home software as well, but I haven't had any problems with my 40 amp. We actually tuned it before Apex. I don't know. See, the tuning, once I realized, like, I tried to use the Rhino software, and that was a terrible idea, and I remembered I already had AM32 flash software downloaded on my computer, so I just used the same one that I used for the Silent Assassin and everything else. And tuning everything there, actually programming the SC went fine. My problem was getting the calibration done. And I don't know if it was something with my FlySky with the Noble, if there's a setting on there that I'm not seeing or not aware of. The first one I used that's currently in my class 1, took a while, and actually got a phone call from someone to help me set it up and got it going and fixed and worked and haven't touched it since. Then I used the 80 amp one attempted to use the 80 amp one in the deluxe build, and it actually worked and calibrated just fine for a little bit, and then it stopped. And then I had another one that I was running in the high-low for a long time, and it would forget what was going on all the time. So I said, hopefully, I don't know, it might just be a setting in the FlySky that I just wasn't seeing. Dan Arsiman, when scrubbing in the new G8s, do you have any good suggestions on speeding up the process? I try to drive them as much as I can, or if I have a heavy truck, like a heavy trail truck, I will put them on there and drive it for a weekend or two on the rocks, or even just hold it to kind of burnouts. Or you can order or do like a tire break-in like they do for drag tires. Hook it up to a drill, get you some sandpaper or Scotch-Brite, something of your choice, and break it in that way. I actually, in making one, I have an extra axle shaft, so I'm just going to take the axle shaft, mount a hub to it, and then mount it to the wheel, cut the shaft down, and mount it to my drill. And I'm just going to kind of make my own. It'll work, hopefully. I have the 80 amp as well, but it's going on my high-low build. 80 amp chip is definitely bulk. Yeah, the 80 amp is definitely beefier. Actually, my 80 amps in my normal pack-out box. Did I order the megalithic tires yet? Yes. Yes, I did. I was having issues ordering because it was like they were in stock and then out of stock and in stock. Luckily, I have a friend, so I do have a set of those megalithic tires coming, and they will be going on a truck for Crawl Palooza. I'll have extra tires with me, but they will be going on the truck for Crawl Palooza because it's a new tire. Nothing's on a ban list or anything yet, so. And honestly, looking at the tire and looking at the lugs, yes, but it looks better, or it looks more scaled than the Rupture does by far. And honestly, if I compare it to like a Trencher or a Hyrax, it looks better than those. If Trenchers and Hyraxes are legal, honestly, that tire should be too. If not, the Rupture should be legal as well. The only thing, I guess the thing that gets a Rupture is its size, because it is a 4.9 technically, so it's generally out on a lot of stuff. But I am excited for those tires. I've been watching Lucas's videos on them, and he loves those tires. And he's a Tusk guy like myself too. He says those put the Tusk to shame, so I'm really interested to get my hands on them. With the new Holmes V3 ESC, can you not run a Kratos 2750? I don't see why you couldn't. I mean, you'd have to run it non-sensor because that ESC doesn't have a sensor wire, so you would just not use the sensor wire from the Kratos. I've never ran a Kratos without a sensor wire. Every time I've ran a Kratos, I've always had the sensor wires with the Kratos. I see what you mean. Yeah, calibrate. Yeah, so it's got to be. I think there's a setting on the Noble that I am unaware of. That's because it said something about there's certain things that like the throttle or the trigger band can be different than what that thing's ready to look for. So as soon as I figure out what that is, maybe I might have more luck. We'll see. If I have problems with the Holmes one, we'll go from there. Maybe get it all figured out. Currently, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. We're a little late, still working on. It's all good. Just happy to, glad you're in, hanging out, having a good time. Staying safe out there in this shitty old world. That's what. Yeah, it's been kind of weird and crazy lately. That's for sure. Actually, we can't put this on the table because this thing's just. I'm so happy with the way that whole thing came out. I had to hold my truck with Tusk to break them in, basically do burnouts in the driveway. They were useless, so I did that. See, and I never had any problems with the Tusks. Like, I've pulled Tusks out of the bag. Yeah, I've pulled Tusks out of the bag and comp with them. I know some people do break them in and spin them or do burnouts and stuff like that. I haven't yet. I mean, actually, I think both sets of my Tusk tires I've been driving on for about a year now, so this may be my newest set of Tusks here. But you can tell both of my Class 2s, they're really, really starting to break in. But no, I've pulled Tusks out of the bags and comp with them here. I've just had good luck with them. I don't know, does anyone know where I can get some bumpers made for the Crook Works Jekyll? I know Austin mentioned they have bumpers incoming, but they're not. I think he said maybe late this week or next week. That they have some titanium bumpers coming. I don't know if they're all spoken for. I made mine. I just got some tabs from RC Fab Tab. I welded mine, but you don't have to weld. You can actually braze those bumpers together pretty easily. Brazing's actually not terrible at all. It was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Once you get the correct stuff, if you actually get all the correct pieces to braze with and actually get the stay silv and the correct silver solder wire and a good torch, it is super, super easy. So, definitely some options out there. I'm trying to think of who. You could message Black Betty Crawling Designs. They make the flat style bumpers, like this here on my high-low. They make bumpers this style. I'm sure if you could have everything set up and you give him the measurements for your bumper as far as that, pretty sure he could probably get you some sets made. Said I have a couple of his and it did great. That's just flat folded right around the edges. So super simple and stuff like that. Or if all else fails, they're at IERC. Does make bumpers. They make, it's like 3 or 3 1/4 inch with bumpers, and they're usually lower profile and stuff like that, and you can get them sucked up pretty good, even if you have to do a little grinding on some of the inside welds and you get that bumper to come back even further. I've used tons of IERC bumpers over the while now, so. Ordered a set for Ethan and me. Nice, very nice. Yeah, I did see today they were back in stock. I did think about ordering the second set, but I was like, oh, we'll hold for now. We will hold for now. So I'm sure they'll make their way on a list, but if everyone stops running Sorka, we don't have to worry about a list. Because honestly, that was one thing. I think we talked about it. You were all there when we were talking. Like, Apex had such a blast at Apex. It was 12 cheater class 2 courses in 2 days. So we had 6 courses a day, and it was an absolute blast. It was rough at times, but it was fun. I think we all did really good down there. We had several of us all the way up there. So really good, and also got us all a taste for the Disney Rocks before Crawl Palooza, so which was really nice because I wanted to, well, I took the class 1 around a little bit and the class 3, and actually both of them will be new by the time I get back down to Disney, so that did me a whole lot of nothing, taking them down there. and practicing, because Class 1's getting rebuilt, and we do have a surprise for Class 3 arriving tomorrow. So we'll see how that turns out and everything. But yeah, talked about it. I mean, honestly, I think there were several areas and other areas, not just us local here in the Midwest, but other areas, people out in Lake Vegas and Arizona, some Cali. Like, there are lots of places that typically had a strong Sorka crowd, and they are ditching Sorka, either dropping back down to piece scale or running their own modified rules, which I think is a feasible answer. And honestly, if we like step it back and go back to like 2019 or 2020 rules, even either regular Sorka rules or Sorka Light rules, base rule set, and build from there, I think you can make it fun again. Like I said, building for the rectangle, it was okay for me. I didn't have a problem with it. There were tasks, there were challenges that made it fun for me, but it really killed that side of comping anywhere. Events, if they were, especially around here, if we were mentioning that we were doing Sorka builds, last year if we did Sorka, we had good turnouts. This year if we mentioned Sorka, our turnouts were half, if not a third, because people just didn't want to deal with it. And the tech table is a little fun at times. So, unfortunately, that's really killed it for us here lately. Even me, as much as I've built on and went over the new rules and help out, which I don't mind doing at all, but it really hurt us on the performance side at lots of events. The turnouts have gone down quite a bit. So hopefully something changes or something gives. High Desert Scale Adventures, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. Joe, what remote do I use? I use a FlySky Noble MB4 is my remote. Started using that just over a year ago and absolutely love it. It is awesome. Mm-hmm. Huh. Weird. Yeah, sometimes I think it's just areas and stuff too. Because like I said, yeah, I've pulled tusks out of bag and crawled with them, or the hunks, or any of those, and have had great luck. And then I know other people that they have to break them in first. So I don't know if it's just enough difference in certain rock textures that make them just invincible, and others like, you know what, we're gonna make you work for this a little bit. So let's see how it all comes out. But in the end, especially, yeah, I mean, I can't deny, and tusks are good for me out of the bag, but the more they break in, the better they get. So it's hard for me to not run that tire now, but I think that megalithic tire is going to be something to have fun with for sure. Yeah, Apex was a blast. I'm just glad I finished all 12 courses. Pretty good. And one positive course through all of them. All the rest, other 11, were all negative. So I was definitely happy with the way I drove there. And I knew exactly where I messed up. I didn't have a single problem with the truck all weekend. We did learn that I can't measure, because I had built my high-low and was like, all right, 12-inch wheelbase, everything should be good. I'm actually like 13 on my high-low, which is actually the lengths I used to base my Jekyll off of. So my Jekyll's actually at 13-inch wheelbase too. There were major advantages of seeing that wheelbase on those courses down there. I don't know, I got asked several times how long that truck is, because it's got some distance to it. But the truck did great. I wasn't disappointed in the absolute slightest with the truck. I just knew exactly where I messed up. Like, I had 2 -40 runs that I ruined on gate like 9 because I just wasn't paying attention. And then it just made me upset, and things went downhill from there a couple times. Wreck-It Ralph, where can I get a Zinner diode? I got mine. I got that variety pack on Amazon for like $5, and it has all kinds of different voltages. And Rico told me he likes the either 16 or 17 volt diode. So I'm going to, I think this one has 16, so that's like what I'm going to use on mine is 16, yes, 16 bolt on mine when I get around to getting everything wired up and everything. I'm still going to finish out the Stork series. We got number 3 this week in a Keystone this Sunday, and since you missed number 2, points make it everyone's game. Yeah, I am really, really sad. I wish that if that second one had been closer, we would have gone there. But that was 5 hours one way. So for me to wake up that early in the morning, drive 5 hours down, drive 2C2, 1C1, and 1C, so drive 5 hours, drive 4 courses, and then drive 5 hours back, and working on Monday wasn't it. If it had been on a Saturday, I would have considered it because I would have had a day to recover or something like that. But being Sunday, just couldn't swing it. And with I'm actually headed up to the regional office next week for a couple days of training, so I'm like, I'm going to be gone next week for a couple days, so I'm going to need to stay home this weekend, and then again, Crawl Palooza is coming up soon too, so I'm going to unfortunately take a break from it because it would have been fun. I would definitely love to, and it looked really fun down there at Keystone, but gonna have to miss it. Oh yeah, you did get that C-hub to fit. That's awesome. Hey, everyone, yeah, it definitely evened up the playing field. I don't know, Mike is going back down there because I know he's up there right now, and he is trying to hold off and defend the rest of his stames where everything's at. So, and he's got the Jekyll, I think, really dialed in now for his driving style and everything. So, it is quite the monster. So, did get a couple little things knocked out on the Speedy since the video. I did go ahead and snag one of the, took one of the 4-inch Proline light bars that I had, pulled it off and got it to mount and fit right there in the front. And then I got a couple clear pods and got them on the back as well. I just need to pop the lenses out and hit them with the translucent red to make them red. And I got switches on there, so the controller, I control the lights off and on. So definitely good there. And gave it a little bit of light. So this is something that Crawl Palooza, if we do get some night runs, I'll probably drive this thing around. Because honestly, this thing's fun. I really enjoy taking it out. It is loud when it tumbles, though. It is like a thud. It is a major thud. This thing, it's got some beef to it. I'm actually looking around. I think I have one more big Kratos or one more big A6 motor laying around somewhere. So I know the Fusion's in there because I have 0 space inside here underneath that capper interior. But the other part of me really wants to put a big motor in there. So now I'm kind of torn on what I want to do. We'll see. We will see. Or I might have to do some re-gearing. I might throw a different pinion in there and call it good. I probably should have looked at what pinion was in there when I had everything all tore apart. That would have been much, much smarter way to go. Which, actually thinking about it, I should be able to just pull that up. But anyway, what's that thing weigh? I don't know. It's got to weigh. It's got to be 7, 8 pounds, something like that. It's spicy. Because I do have aluminum housings, and this is a full stainless cage. Everything, yeah, I'd say it's easily 7 to 8 pounds. I may have to weigh it when we're all said and done here tonight, because I don't think I have yet. But Brad, how's it going? Love, respect from Alabama. Alright, yeah, that was I had some fun a couple weeks ago. That made my my fun from Alabama really, really good. Because I got a set of Spectrums in it. Dude, they're the best place to get glasses. They really are. Honestly, they should be a sponsor at this point. Theron, what's up, buddy? Thanks for tuning in. Sorry I'm late. You're excused. I will allow it. I will allow it. Yeah, this thing is just super, super cool. Oh, goodness. Well, it'll take me a minute to get everything. But I did get some bumpers knocked out for the SCX6 because that was the last thing I needed before Crawl Palooza. They require a front rear bumper. It must be wider than the chassis rails and stick past the body. So it took a lot longer than anticipated. I had my tabs, my steel, and everything that I've always used to make my bumpers at work. Sat in there, pulled everything over, and so there, started on it, did a few tacks, and then it fell. Like nothing was holding. The crossbar here wasn't holding, the tabs weren't holding. Yes?
Hey, when did you open this food in the fridge?
Yesterday, the day before.
Okay, perfect.
And I was sitting there, it was like, then the tab broke off. I was like, why is this not, it's like not holding. Double check and make sure I got the settings on everything right. I'm like, man, it's just getting frustrating. And then it just starts becoming just a booger mess. I pulled them off, sanded them down, tried again. It's like, oh, maybe I got something on it. So I'm wiping everything down. I'm like, man, what is going on? And then I realized I pulled everything over to my bay, turned the gas on, plugged everything in, and then at some point I reached back over and turned the gas. I walked away, so I turned the gas off as I walked away. When I came back, I didn't turn the gas back on. Welding, turns out you don't have to have the gas on when you weld, but it definitely helps. So once I got the gas turned back on, we were good to go. So got the bar on there, welded straight to the chassis rails because I really didn't have any other options, especially up here in the front. Nice little curve there, and then a little bit of some anger there on the sides. And then here in the rear, nothing too crazy, just standard like I normally would, just a flat bar there, and just an absolutely ginormous oversized stinger in the rear. I don't know, I had one piece left. I was like, you know what, I'm just going to use the whole thing. So I bent it all around. I was like, you know what, that's what we're doing. I'd bent everything over and then like went to just measure, and I was like, you know what, we're just going to do the whole thing. So came out pretty good. Had an absolute blast with this thing at Apex though. I think I went through 2 or 3 of my batteries at Apex with the 6. It's when it was all said and done. So the crawling footage at the very end, we went down, walked past the courses, two big hills, Viagra and Cialis there at Disney, and we were watching all the bouncers and everything go up that, and I was just sitting there with that thing. It was a very, very good time. Had an absolute blast. And it did extremely well. Now, one thing that I've been waiting for, or kind of looking for, the last thing that I wouldn't mind doing is a flat skid. So if I can clear up that area from the bottom of the skid and make it flush with that chassis, I think that would be huge, huge. So there is a post on the SCX6 page, and there's someone that does make a flat skid. So I'm messaging them right now to get the info on it, make sure it does fit. So I'm using the stock, everything stock links and all that. Because I don't feel the need to change out the chassis. There's not a chassis that I think gains me anything super, super more than the stock one. And plus I've already got it all built and transferred, so I'm not taking it all the way back apart and trying to fit and finagle stuff again. So I just want a flat skid to fit the stock rails and call her good. What have you been working on, Theron? I know you said you wanted to change. I thought you said you wanted to change up a couple things and call her good. Dave 430, how's it going? Thanks for tuning in. The new skid plate made out. I don't know. I'm getting that stuff. I think it was Rustic RC, um, is who I was recommended, and who sent me pictures of the skid plate. I'm hoping. So I don't know what it's made out of actually. I was just curious. It's assume either 3D printed or cut out of Delrin or something like that would be my guess. He makes a lot of, looking at the page, he makes quite a bit of some cool CNC cut stuff, some carbon fiber chassis and stuff like that. So, but yeah, that thing did really really good on the rocks there, especially just watching that big thing just actually perform, because I think it's right on the cusp of that scale between these and like the 6 functions and acts so much more like a regular full-size vehicle than the 1/10 scale ones do. I don't, and 1/10 crawl and stuff like that, they're not out there 65-35 or 60-40 or 70-30 weight biasing their vehicles. They're not adding all that stuff on there. I don't think the 6, from what I've messed and experimented with, you can't tune the SCX6 the same way we tune these. It's too big to function that way. As I've looked at the brass knuckles and stuff like that, I really don't think, I mean, I'd still wouldn't mind trying them, except the fact that brass knuckles for that 6 are $150. So that sucks. Actually, everything for the SCX6 is expensive, but I just don't know if it's going to make that big of a difference. Other than just trying the best, especially for that thing, because it is big. Try to just get the weight as low as I can is really the best way I can do it. Instead of balancing everything out, just bring the weight down as best I can is my primary goal. Remove the top heaviness. A lot of the shock work. And those purple springs in the front did great. I'm super happy with that. When you're running, say, a Class 2, do I try to stay under a certain weight or a weight you'd like to be around for an overall rig? Yes and no. I used to just kind of build the truck with everything I had and then kind of go from there on moving stuff around. I'd say if I had to choose a target weight, it would be 5.5 to 6 pounds. Super light trucks in our local area do not do good. The rock texture and the breakovers that we have, I have built several sub 5 pound, like 4.5, just under 5 pound trucks, and they get tossed around and do not have enough weight to gain traction at our local area. 5 to 5.5 is bound about a sweet spot. And I could be wrong, but I believe like lightweight trucks, super lightweights, while they can be super capable in certain areas, I think they are less predictable. Because they are so light, they can do, sometimes everything just kind of can go to shit in a hurry. But if you're a heavier truck, somewhere up around that 6, maybe even 6.5 pounds, one, that truck is definitely planted, and you do have weight on the tires to gain traction. Your weight bias will need to bump a little bit more, and with the heavier truck right around that 6 pounds, I feel the truck is far more predictable because the truck is just overall better planted. But if I am building at if I have a target weight, it's right around 5.5 pounds is a target weight, which I believe my height here is exactly 5.5 pounds, and it is 62 front, a 38 rear. That's just and 50-50. It just actually came out that way. I didn't have to move anything around or do any transitioning or anything crazy like that. It actually came out spot on. Jake C, how's it going? Thanks again for the help on my seaweed. Not a problem at all. I will message you back here at some point when I check the messages and whatnot. Nathan Worth, do I ever use the stick-on weights inside the tires stuck to the V-lock rings? When I first started crawling, I did that on my Everest 10 that I first had, and I think my Gen 8 when I first got into it. After that, once I started tuning other things and finding other ways. Like if I have to add weight or something like that, I find better ways to do it than that. And plus, even though it's not much, depending on your foam setup, that can mess with your foam tuning options and foam setup if you have room in there or not. And they're a pain in the ass to clean off. So if I add weight, I prefer brass knuckles or portal covers, or if I absolutely have to, a weighted rotor on the hub or something like that is my preferred method. Brass knuckles will murder the servo. Yes. Yeah, I think adding more weight in the front, I mean, so that has the NSDRC, that has the 2500. There's the V1 in it, but it's still a massive fifth scale servo. And it's still, that one, the V1 I guess is the slower one, but it still has plenty of power and torque and everything like that. But yeah, even that at times, if you move it back, there is still a slow response because it is that much weight. And if I put another 300 grams or so, however much brass knuckles for the thing weigh, well, that is an expensive servo. Luckily, Jake won that for me at Crawl Palooza last year, so I didn't have to pay for it. I just had to let 6 people drive my truck, which that's probably not going to be driven all over the place at Crawl Palooza. I'll drive it, and the kiddo's going to drive it for S66 class, just because there's a little bit more in that truck now than there was last year, so put a little more work into it. So, gonna kind of keep it to myself. But yeah, like I said, I mean those servos, a good fifth scale servo for the 6 is anywhere from $250 to $300. So it's not exactly a servo I want to put any more stress on than already has on it. So I agree on that one for sure. Where's the battery in my high-low? My battery in the high-low is in the one place it probably shouldn't be. Right here in the front, on that accessory tray that they make for the high-lows. I can just use the 6 as a car stand. Nate, I appreciate these live chat. Really helped me being a noob to comps. Not a problem. I got one more question here. Dave. Yes, this is it is a monster server. Now they do have the V2, which is a lot faster, and the Shift RC1 is also faster as well. So we'll see what happens in the future. Also, one more question for you here. Do I prefer plastic or aluminum housings on tip portals in a comp? Class 1, F10 portals. Class 2, F10 portals. Class 2 again, F10 portals. All plastic. I do have metal, but that is on my Speedy. I don't know. I comp with metal housings plenty, and I've comped with plastic housings plenty. Plastic housings do slide over obstacles and everything else better. That's just a given. And if it does cut into it, I mean, it goes through the plastic. The metal, it can shear off into a hard spot and potentially become something that gets you stuck in a rock or something like that. So, I do prefer the plastic housings for the F10s for sure, but it's nothing against metal housings. And my class 3 is super shafty CP44s. Those are full aluminum housings, and they do fantastic. I don't have any problem with them with a rock rash or anything like that. If I did, I have thought about it a couple times, either putting a metal one here in the front for weight or in the rear for weight, because I do need a little bit of weight in the rear. But yeah, red dirt right here in the front. The worst possible place to put a battery is where I put my battery. I was going to make another little tray and put it back here, but I forgot all about it and I already had everything there, so it's like, we're just running it there. But also, granted, these are my comp batteries, or if I really want to, these. So we have these little itty bitty guys, or like these are 650s, 4S's, and I have 454S's. Like, so really there's not a whole lot there as far as battery. but they stay charged. Also, a fun little fact from Apex that I learned when you're putting in new winch line, and you're like, man, that feels kind of funny, because I had a roll of winch line that I used and put new line in my class 2 before the event. I was like, that feels a little funny. I'll be fine. That feels funny was a wax coating on the winch line, which is not cool. There was at one point I had winched up an area, and the winch line had unhooked itself from the stick, and the line stayed out, extended, with the hook hanging off the end, not attached to anything, about 6 inches. Like, that's how stiff the line had gotten. And the first day I was having luckily I didn't have to winch much, but when I did winch, I was having issues here and there, like getting the line out, and then like manipulating the line because that wax coating. So that night I camped that night. I pulled my line out. Luckily, Mike with us, an extra bag of winch line, so I put some on there, and we were good to go after that. Was much happier with it. The second day, I was not getting frustrated winching. And this Alice Pro did survive all weekend. That was actually the first time using that winch in a comp setting, and it held up. It was my first time comping, not using like a Ninja winch or a Roadrunner, and that is one thing, that there is a significant speed difference between those winches and like a full-on 1/10 Ninja or Roadrunner. Those winches, you can hit your button, spool your line, and you can unhook it and throw your line, basically. Like, that's how fast they come out. They are gnarly fast. They are too fast for a lot of people, because it does take a lot of control to get them all going and everything like that. But once you get the hang of them, they are perfectly fine, and I enjoy that a lot. But that one overall, it still had plenty of good speed, still had plenty of power. I didn't struggle winching or pulling the weight of the truck up at all. Everything, especially the second day. Once I got some good line in there, we were good to go. My wife ended up busting the plastic housings on my 6.6, so I have to get a new housing for it. Debating on $20 for a plastic housing, or quick and easy ship and drop you $200 from it. Honestly, yeah. I mean, there are some of the Amazon ones. The only thing on the Amazon ones I would look for is make sure the pan hard mount is more solid. Make sure it's not one of those bolt-in pan hard mounts. So, yeah, that's the only thing I could say to look forward to. Or the Trio ones have served me absolutely fantastic, but they are there. I'm running the 380 million. Actually, confirmed I can run 2 courses back to back on a 3. Well, I mean, that works. I did hot lap a couple courses there, and that was pretty interesting. During like that weekend, the weather was perfect for Apex. It really was. It wasn't super hot. It wasn't cold or chilly. Weather like that, I trust small batteries to run 2 courses. When it gets cold, like last year during our throwdown event, my 450s, normally I could run 2 courses with a 450 comfortably. I could not run 2 courses last year during our throwdown. I could get through 1 course. It was that cold. Batteries were just all the way down. The Roadrunner is so fast. I bought John Ray's Class 1 truck, and it has Roadrunner. Yes, Roadrunners are insanely fast as well. Actually, fortunately, my last Ninja winch is actually in the kiddo's Class 2, and I was trying to steal it back from him, but he said no, because he's never had a super fast winch like that. So he wants it, and he's gotten pretty good at controlling it, so as long as he's good with it, we're good. So this actually will be my truck for Crawl Palooza. They have to take turns, so I use the high-low for Apex. So we'll use the hide here for Crawl Palooza. And so we put a new body on it. Even a more narrower, lower profile everything. So I got another one of those Montec crawler bodies. cut it, let it come down a little bit more, but got everything nice and tight there. Short with the body. Now, there's no body height spec on the Crawl Palooza stuff, but I still did it at 4 inches, same as Apex, because that is also the height requirement I put for our event. So I cut it right at 4 inches, so top of the cab to right here at this little itty bitty corner, 4 inches. Legal, that's all that matters. Which is faster, Ninja or the Rubber? The Ninja is faster. On 3S it is faster. Actually, because that's all the Ninja can handle. The Ninja is 3S rated. Oh, this body I think came out pretty good. Ninja's on 95 right now. Picked one up a couple days ago. They're definitely, yes, they are really good. I should probably order an extra one just because, and they're internal spool, so I like them. That's a win-win for me. Because I do like internal spool winches. But we just did a simple black, threw a little flake in the black paint there and in the chrome. Just went with a silver chrome there, with again just a little bit of flake in there as well. Overall, they came out pretty good. I do need to tighten a couple things. There we go. Other than that, the hide is ready to rock and roll. We did our other cash home this weekend, and it pulled out another first place for me. So super excited about that, and actually got me to jump all the way back up, or jump into first currently. It's a 2-point way, but things ready to go. I did do some changes. I did throw in a rear servo winch here on the hide. Just took one of the extra micro winches that I had laying around. This one is the NSDRC, this is the 100. So I put that in there. Got it just simply mounted and ready to rock and roll. Made a little rod in there to keep the line and everything hopefully spooled. Luckily with the rear ones, it's not like I'm super crazy pulling and doing some crazy pendulums. It's mostly pull back and either slow the truck down as I go and control the descent, or if I just need to hook a stick here and pull the rear over one way or another, I can do that. So that came out pretty good. Actually went together much easier than I thought it was going to. So definitely happy with that. Only thing is I do have to remember which button I put that winch on, because now I don't remember. So that control, and so I actually have 2 winches set up, 2 winches and 3 position channels set up with the Noble, which is super convenient. Actually worked out really, really well. One other thing I think I'm trying to do on here, I might try to rig up some form of battery strap just because it's nice to have those on there, but this thing's done so well for me. Super, super happy with it. And cool thing is, like, the high-low and Jekyll here are different, but they are both forward based, so I was able to adjust and manipulate things. So I have them set up similar. The Brazen's definitely the more cheater rig, P-scale setup. Not worried about T-case or anything like that. Axle mounted servo, the whole 9 there. But nonetheless, I can still drive them very, very similar, and they handle really, really good. So definitely happy. We'll do one more cash comp next month with the hide, which will be our last one, and it'll be ready for Crawl Palooza. So we're almost there. Should probably put the body back on here in a minute. good to go. Oh man. And one other change I did do, we're going full circle with the element there. So I did the Tundra hard body leaf springs. It was super fun, but then in the end I was like, I really made this thing like not capable at all. So I ended up switching everything back over to 4-link in the rear, putting everything back to normal, and going back with the FJ body on here just because, I mean, I had an absolute blast with this truck the first several times I took it out. Super, super blast. I still had fun with it when I did the leaf springs. Like, it was still fun in its own way, but I was like, the truck was really capable for an IFS truck, and I destroyed all of that. Which, if I destroyed all of that and it came out super, super scale, I'd been fine with that. But I destroyed the performance, and I also took it out of the scale side of it. So I was like, you know what? Let's fix the U-Tron and put it back to the way it kind of was. So back to 4-link. Again, I shortened that wheelbase to match the body back to like a 12.3. And we got the FJ body back on it. So, which I think still looks really, really good. Pablo, greetings from New Jersey. What winch line do you prefer? My Reese winch line is not working for me. I have had great luck with the Three Brothers RC winch line or Super Shafty winch line because they're anti-abrasive resistant. So they've always worked really good. They usually only come in like the packs of 10 foot, which is enough to do an entire spool for sure. I was using some bulk line for a while, but I got a bad batch of it, so it broke, and then the other one, turns out it had a wax coating on it for some reason, which was not in the description when I purchased the line. So that one didn't work for me either, so I'm kind of on the hunt again for other lines, but actually everything now has the Three Brothers line in it or Super Shafty, one of the two. I've had good luck with Dyno. That's the other one I was going to look at, was that winch line. I've actually had several people recommend or mention that, so I should probably go snag some of that and try. Oh, I did pick up. Actually, I picked up a few bodies lately. So I picked up an extra Lily body because I really liked it. I really like the Lily body, except I broke the whole bed in here is cracked all the way around, so it's just asking to get pulled out, and I didn't feel like taping and messing with stuff before Crawl Palooza, so I had an extra body, so we put it on there, and it's ready to rock and roll. But I do like the way everything is, so I snagged an extra Lily body, fresh and clean, ready to rock and roll. Now that I'm not in a hurry, I can probably fix this one up and get it back to the way it was. I could probably just Gorilla Tape or epoxy the inside, or put another piece of a big piece of styrene under there to help support it better. So that'll probably be the plan there. I also did pick up the Land Cruiser hard bodies. One second. Picked up one of the LC 80 Land Cruiser bodies. Is massive. Massive on a whole new level. I mean, and actually the wheelbase kind of fits. It's just really, really wide compared to, honestly, this almost fits on the SX6. If I bought two of these and cut the back half and glue them together, I can make an SX6 hard body with this thing. Even compared to the LC70, I mean, it is noticeably wider. It is just, it is massive. It is absolutely massive. So, yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with this now. Because, like I mentioned, building a new Class 1 now. So I was like, this was my Class 0 body. Then I was like, crap, I need to build a whole new Class 1. So I'm going through, getting everything organized and ready to rock and roll. I was like, okay, I have everything. I'm like, I don't have a body. So I'm like, I could use the LCD, I could use the 70, but then I don't have anything for Class 0. So I found this on Amazon on sale for like 60 bucks. So I ordered it. I was like, we'll see how big it is. So no, Wes had mentioned he had them, and he's like, it's a big body. I just really didn't pay attention to how big this was. I was like, maybe I'll use the 70 for a body, or the 80. It's not gonna work. So I don't know what I want to do with this now. I could just do something super scale. I mean, I really could do something super scale with it. I'm not gonna comp with this because this is just massive. But I really, like, I'm not doing anything to my 6, but if I had a second SCX6 and a second one of these bodies, this is as wide as the hammer ray body that's on my SCX6. So yeah, if I had 2 of these, cut it off here, or cut it here, and smush them together. I'd say probably cut it at the doors on the second body and squish it together. I think you'd have a hard body SCX6. Bring it to Crawl Palooza, I'll build your body. Okay, I'll bring it. I can do that. So we're back to using this is my Class 0 for kind of, most likely. Because I may have got lucky and got my hands on a body, which actually if mail day been a day, tomorrow's mail day is going to be pretty exciting as well. We did have a pretty good one today, actually. Here's a box of brazen right here for my mail. Is that? Wait till you see my skinny one. I want to see. But anyway, as always, brazen scale. Always tuning in and having a good time with this. Yeah, because when Wes, you had that on one of the Monday night live streams a couple weeks back, and like you had it on the screen. I was like, that's really nice. And like I just was not judging like how big that body is. That is massive. Yeah, I really could almost SCX6 this. Now that kind of makes me want to get it. If I had a second SCX6, we could do something. But yes, so we do have my new Class 1 chassis in here. I'm not entirely sure what the paw... I won't show it yet. Unless Brazen says it's okay. But yeah, so luckily Jake, Missouri was hanging out with us, or was always on the lookout for me. He knows kind of the stuff and everything that I'm looking for and everything. Aww. That looks good. I like that a lot. So I like that a lot. One thing I did think about doing, Wes, was, because I knew this was going to be kind of tall, I thought about cutting the roof off and doing just a windshield cage and then folding it down. Because there's no body height requirement in Class 1 or 2 or anything at Crawl Palooza. So I thought about cutting the whole roof off, making a windshield, just a 2-frame windshield on some hinges and folding it down. I thought about doing it with this, but I was like, this is a really nice body. Like, either narrowing it up like you, that actually looks really, really good, or doing something super scale. It is, Theron. It is. But so anyway, Jake was looking out for me. So he messaged me. So I do have a new body coming for the Class 1, which is actually the body I was hunting for. So it hurt, but it's worth it. So everything is ready for Class 1. I got messaged Lance, Hardcore C, so I got some links coming for the new chassis. So everything's there. Just links in the body show up, I think, this weekend and or next week. So maybe I get started on that. I do have a care package coming tomorrow with several goodies in there. So still plenty to do this weekend. But yeah, I've just really debated on what to put the Class 0 on. Because obviously that LC70 on the pace setter I think would be pretty flippin' sweet. And I said it's not in the things. Gosh dang. Wes, that looks so good. Straight cuts and everything. That's honestly the part I'm jealous about. I've narrowed plenty of bodies now. I can never get anything straight. That's why I have pieces of metal underneath of it, and it's all bolted so it doesn't fall apart halfway down a course, because that's exactly what would happen. But another reason is, I mean, the Pro here, everything's ready to rock and roll. It already has a winch, everything in it. So all I got to do is, which I have to fit a body and make bumpers, which that goes for whatever I decide to put it on. I already have the wheels and tires and inner fenders. All four corners for Class 0 and call it good. My stick was a bandsaw. Ooh. I'm a bandsaw. I have a table saw. I could probably do that. Nate, EXO has an ESC now. Yes. Yes, they do. This one right here. Went over it. So this will probably be on my next updates from the bench video, because I got 3 silent ESCs over there now. Like I mentioned earlier, so we have the EXO ESC. But to go with the EXO ESC, you need BEC to power the receiver, and if you run direct power servos or servo winches, you need some Zinner diodes to help it protect it from voltage spikes. So I'll at some point get this all wired up and finished. Then we also have the D drive Sport ESC from Dinky RC. This is the ESC that is in my Jekyll and Hyde, and it has done exceptionally super well for me as well. And I had them put their own BEC in this one because I was out of them. And then we have the new Holmes Crawl Master V3 ESC. Very almost similar, visually identical almost to the Rhino, but with Holmes software, so hopefully everything actually works really good. And that's honestly what I'm excited about, is that it has Holmes software on it. But yeah, I mean the Pro does super good. So it's like Class 0, straight axle with the pace setter chassis. I think it would be pretty good. It's gonna be easy to put whatever on there is. Just really torn because I really like my buckwheat and everything on here. And putting the LC70 does fit the VS410 really good. I mean, other than cutting holes in the shock tower, I mean, the wheelbase and everything on this is pretty good. Just cutting some holes in the shock towers and letting it come down. And this is even just a straight axle Phoenix. So that would work pretty easy to get everything mounted up. And I do technically already have inner fenders in the front, and they look like they will clear everything just fine, so I would just have to add them to the rear and call it good. Just really torn if I wanted to use the straight axle one, or like I said, I have everything. I have my original Phoenix Portal over there, minus the axle. So I have all the gears and everything for the VFD twin. I just need to put it back together. Or I could put a different transmission in it, because there is no requirements. There's no points. So I don't need like a T case or anything, technically speaking. So I could just take the simple, easy way out. I mean, I don't have to. I do have one of the new Super Shafty F6 transmissions, right? F6, right? Yeah. I do have one of the new Super Shafty F6 transmissions, which has all of its different combinations, and it has its forward motor mount set, so I can put that motor all the way out here. It already has the standard 18% overdrive in it. I have everything to put together. I just don't know. I haven't had anything to put it in yet. So I could just simply put this transmission in it instead of putting the VFD twin back together. Just really kind of torn. Mostly, Class 1 needs built first. Class 1 needs built. The Class 3 stuff should be pretty simple to get the Class 3 all done. Probably do a new body for it as well, just because. So yeah, Class 0, even though it's probably going to be the most important as far as getting everything fit and legal and everything, it's going to get pushed off probably till the last minute. Either if I can snag a set of portals for my extra Phoenix and get it back together and do Class 0 on it, or whatnot. Just haven't too many options. But in the meantime, actually, we are going to put this back together. And I'm going to need longer bolts here in a minute, but should be just fine. That VS410 is nice. Yes, that is. I do like the Phoenixes. The VS410 Phoenixes are super nice. I like them. They go together really good, good quality, and I'm honestly quite proud of that paint job on that one. I think I did a pretty good job of weathering everything on there. That was just a fun paint for sure. Hands down for me. Okay. There we go. Getting everything to line back up, man. You know, Wes, you make it really hard not to do something fun with that body. Like, you really do. Nope. Yeah, there we go. So let's do that one. With that. Now. Two. really made this body complicated. That's right, I had spacers in here as well. Okay. No. There we go. Blue. How do I like the voodoo shocks? Just putting them together and everything right off the bat. Not too terrible. I think they definitely have potential. They actually do. Oh, did I break that? They actually do feel pretty good. They are 90 millimeter, which typically I run 80s on just about everything. So the 610 Pro here is my last one that I do not run 80 millimeters on. I was thinking about using them on the RC Speedy build, but decided to go with the DraftX on there because they just look really, really good. And the DraftX are just a hair longer. And even though I'm running portals on that, I did want a longer shock on that build specifically for just its overall style and stuff like that. So, but visually putting everything together, honestly, these shocks do seem really, really nice. They were already assembled. I just had to fill them with oil, which was a bit of a weirder process, but in the end, it worked out. I got everything done, so that's right. I know that sounded worse than it is, but this body, it's very tight on everything. There we go. Bam. Wheels. Correct. Other side. Correct. But yeah, I mean, visually they felt good, and they do have the adjustable collar on there, so nothing super crazy. So they do have some adjustability and stuff like that. I was talking about they are working on some 80s, so I'm hoping we do see those here before too long, or maybe even some conversions or something like that. I mean, I could always just limit them internally if I wanted to, but honestly, I think they're going to work on here just fine. I'm not going to have any issues, so that is what we went with. And they are very, their profile, as far as, their fitting, they do have a low profile to them. So fitment and stuff like that, I don't think is going to be an issue or a problem at all. And those go there. Those go there. I have one more body clip somewhere. Oh yeah, looks pretty good there. Like I said, those shocks they look pretty good in there. their overall profile and everything, and I did go ahead and go with the blue ones, just to kind of match everything. So yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with the way everything is. All that's came out really good. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. And I mean, definitely, I can feel. I haven't weighed anything. Obviously, it's going to be lighter because I don't have that stock transmission in there anymore. But I'm very happy with the way it all came out. But I mentioned I haven't weighed it, but you can feel it is a little bit lighter in there. And that Brazen Pro Skid, because this is the pace setter, Pro Skid bolted right up, so I didn't have to do any adjustments or anything like that. Got the Pro Skid right in, Creeper T right in, called it a day. Just I did do with the Creeper T, because obviously the inputs are here instead of out there. I snagged a couple new drive shafts, and we're good to go. See, anything else? Any other new releases or any new builds or anything? I'm seeing came out or coming out, or maybe working on anything new. Trying to think. RTR. There is the Fordyce VS410. Element did the Zool, which looks pretty good, mostly because it's an FJ front, and that already had me sold there. Oh, it came out a few weeks ago, but the FMS, that FJ40, super scale one, that looks really good. I think that may be something to save up for sure, because that thing looked super sweet in scale. Super sweet in scale. Trying to think if there's anything else new or did see there were a couple new people with some chassis and stuff like that. That's a Red Cat blackout body. There we go. I've thought about trying the Zuku chassis for the Phoenix. Have heard great things. I mean, I've looked at it, but like looking at the price of the chassis and everything it has. So yes, it completely accepts the stock VS410 Phoenix, which is cool. It has a 60-degree skid, which is also, obviously that is an advantage. That is a performance gainer right there. But like, kind of looking at it with everything else the Phoenix has, like I love the Phoenix axles, but like when it comes to performance and comping with it, I ditch everything else about the Phoenix. The VFD is just big and heavy. Great transmission, but it is a bit big and heavy. Now, I've seen some people that have made the stubby shafts and shortened the VFD up super tiny, which looks really good, and saves up a lot of space. I just feel like if I was going to go, I don't know. I said I've looked at it. I have looked at it several times. I don't know. At that point, like if I'm going more comp style that way, I might as well just do a ground up build and get a super aggressive chassis. At that point, and I'll say my Phoenix is one is just my. Said I needed a like kind of beat around Lexan body, so we snagged that Phoenix there. I need to put my other one back together at some point. But I mean, honestly, this was my last Phoenix, and I'm so happy. this thing came out really good and stuff like that. So as I've thought about it, well, just like the Interceptor chassis, I've had 2 of them now, and they just haven't fit my fancy enough to stay in the fleet, I guess, is a way to say it. There's one thing I still is a huge skid belly area. It's a big belly area, regardless, and especially running like the stock V50 skid, you're still hanging down even that much further. There's just other chassis out there with advantages or stuff like that. Now, for just swapping RTR chassis over and just having some fun with it and getting some shock adjustability in, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm perfectly fine with swapping out just chassis because it's a new build or, you know, something to have some fun with. I mean, they're still fun and the quality is absolutely great, but when it comes to performance, it's not my preferred setup. Versus, like, I mean, like taking the S610 Pro Oracle chassis here. Like, that is a pretty significant difference in belly sizes. So if I can get everything in like a belly with, like, you know, that small, we'd be talking. That would be ideal for me. Sweet. Honestly, I'm more excited about these giant brazen stickers. These logos on these stickers I really like because they're on the shirts and everything else too, and the hat. That logo, that decal, is super exciting. So we will save those and we will put that over there. So I can get started on. So I just need links and I can really get going on everything else. And be good to go. Another thing. Yeah, plus, honestly, I just really like the Pro as this setup and everything. Just simple, super fun, straight axle, performing truck. And obviously, the Pro is a good setup. If I did see correctly, Wyatt won first at the WRCC Worlds there in Maine. I know he uses the stock Pro chassis, but I think he runs portals on his class 2. I think there were portals on his class 2. I could be wrong. I can't remember. But that looks to be pretty good. Am I seeing that correctly? I missed out on the live Monday night, Wes, if you're still watching. I didn't realize you guys put high-low sliders back on the site. I should order a set of those. I love you too, Theron. Boy, I hear that. I'm definitely a go all-out person when it comes to performance as well. Nice. RC, you're wrong. About which part? I could be wrong about a lot of things. I'm just a man, after all. Yeah, I mean, yeah, when it comes to, like, don't get me wrong, I still like to pull some performance out of, like, my trailer trucks or stuff like that. Like, even just a VS410 or the Element, the U-Tron, stuff like that. There's little things you can do to add performance, stuff like that. Trail trucks, I don't feel like I have to go all out all the time. But, you know, if there are just some standard chassis swaps, you know, that where everything can go back stock necessarily, that is nice to have. That is super nice to have. And you can do that with the Rock Pirates chassis. Like I can pull that VS410, pull those rails, and I can get everything bolted to this, which is not a bad option. I didn't even think I could just do that real quick. Gives me something to do, I guess. So, we might just do that. Because if I'm gonna, I'm gonna have to cut holes for shock towers in a bed anyway. I might as well just have all that there because I can use everything from the VS410 Phoenix to the chassis, or to the Interceptor chassis, because I've even seen people get the inner fenders and everything. They've got everything to work just fine. So, may have to look into that. Because I know, mostly I just really want the like the inner fenders and stuff to fit on there, and the body mounts and stuff, which I have seen done with the Interceptor chassis. So I may just do that. We could just do that. I could just swap all that to that, and then do the Class 0 on that and call it good. That's I think that's my plan. That's what we'll do. But do I do it on the straight axle Phoenix, or do I try to find portals and put together my other Phoenix? Bring back the winch spool guys, please. Those were, I had a lot of people really did like those a lot. And I said, if I have to choose between spool winches, if internal spool is an option, that is my preferred. But if I had to choose external spool, that's always a good option to have for something like that. The new Atlas Pro is external spool. Then I won an external spool winch at Apex. So those winch line guides are really nice and cool to have. And for that, to make sure everything stays where it's supposed to. Dang. I actually have one somewhere. I don't know where I put it. Like this one, oh, just Josh and I just tuned in. Well, by all means, I could be wrong about it, who knows. But like winch spool guides, so this came with the Deluxe, the Nessie, and it fits and bolts in, so I was like, got it to work. That is super nice. I didn't have to worry about the spool line or anything coming loose, so it's just nice. But you can use some rod ends or some antenna tube and get everything usually to route just fine. But if something comes loose or a zip tie moves, that winch line can go all bonkers. Versus an internal spool, it doesn't matter if I have it guided or not, it's going back to the spool and it's not coming off. That's my biggest thing. It's not coming off. So believe me, I will pull that motor on the trigger on that winch, bound up or not. It will pull something back in. I have 3 external spools and the one with the guide works meant yes. I said that's a brilliant idea and design for sure. Super helpful. I said nothing is more frustrating than like running an external spool and then like your winch line coming undone, or the rod end that you were guided through, something happens and it just pops off and on. You're like, oh, this makes you sad because there's nothing you can. I mean, you could just pop the body off real quick and try to re-spool it real quick, but I mean, you're taking penalties and stuff like that, so things. Oh, got a couple. Blue there. That's why I'm thinking the Zuku for the Phoenix. You know, more of a capable kind of scale, which that makes perfectly good sense. I have thought about it. I really have. There was another. There was another chassis that popped up that I was looking at. Really caught my attention. I think it was it Desert RC or Desert Coyote RC? Not so much his chassis, but he does some really, really cool looking bug bodies. So, my Nessie is actually tore back apart right now. Because I don't know what... I had everything done. It was built. I took it out. But the application of parts, and I'm frustrated with myself now after realizing what I had did wrong. So I was having issues with my drive shaft angle. Drive shaft angle and drive shaft not having enough room between the pinion and the servo because I had behind the axle mount for the AR-44. So my servo is right here, my pinion's right here, and my drive shaft. So I was having problems finding a drive shaft that could clear that. I even took a couple incision ones and took them to work on the wheel and just ground them as narrow and small down as I could. Even messed with one of the EXO ones as well. Ruined one end, and I was really mad about that. Finally, I was able to get clearance between so the drive shaft could actually get on. But then, at certain angles and everything else, I was having binding issues. So I was using the Beef XR with AR-44s. So center pumpkin, super wide straight axle. Not my forte anyway, generally. The width is fine, straight axle, like solid axle. But center pumpkin. And I believe that was the issue. Because they have announced there is a new Nessie chassis coming out that is more catered to center pumpkin axles like the AR-44 or the Capra or similar. So I was just kind of tore everything down, maybe pick that one up. But Jake wanted those axles. He's been dying and eyeballing those axles for a while, so let him have the axles. And then I was kind of like, what do I do? It's kind of messing with everything. And then I realized my problem was how I had my servo mounted. If I had positioned it to the other side or just went with a standard servo on top of the axle mount, I would have had zero issues whatsoever. And I was like, I tore an entire chassis down, got rid of stuff. Or most of that because I forgot, I overlooked a simple solution, but Jake's going to use them and build something cool with them anyway, so it's fine. And also, I still have the chassis, I still have the transmission, I still have everything for it. I could easily throw it all back together, which I have thought about doing with like some Phoenix straight axles. Something like that would probably be the next thing that I build on there. So that's probably just chill there for a little bit. Might be a fun little winter build or something like that. But overall, the Nessie, it's a kick-ass chassis. And all the deluxe guys are super nice and helpful with everything. And it puts in work. Like I said, those debuted or kind of saw their first public deal at Crawl Palooza last year. We ran into them all at the Rocky Mountain Regional Championship. Trucks did plenty of work. Really, really good, solid chassis. Great design and everything, too. But I really, really liked it. And the few times, I took it out and it did perform. It would occasionally just I would just run into the drive shaft all of a sudden. I would get into a bind. And I just completely overlooked it. I put it on the shelf. I was like, I'll mess with it later. And some other events. And so I was like moving stuff around to get stuff going. And then ended up sitting here the other day and I realized my problem was exactly how I created my own problem, trying to get fancy with mounting a servo. And that was my problem. would be nice if someone came out with like an extended pinion shaft on for these kinds of builds, something like a little past servo. Honestly, I could see that. I could see something like that. I would just worry at that point, having that pinion too far out, your mesh and everything, moving that pinion in or that bearing coming out because you're not keeping the pressure or the shims there. So that would be the problem. But I mean, you could easily address that with just a simple spacer. So I mean, it wouldn't be a huge problem to overcome. Obviously, there would be more torque on something like that, a little more stress. But I do see how that could easily be a benefit on certain things for sure. As I said, I created my own problem trying to get fancy with mounting a servo. But it's all good now. Like I said, I still have enough everything in there to, I mean, I can put stuff back together in a heartbeat, or build something new. But for right now, we'll just kind of chill and see how everything flows. Like I said, might just save that for a nice little fun winter build or something. But now I do think I am going to just swap one of the Phoenixes over to that chassis completely, swap over, and then put the Class 0 on that and call her good. But that is just the silver chassis. If I'm going to do that, I have to pick a fancy chassis. But yeah, slowly I've acquired, again, just about everything. I said I got a new set of some ultra short, or the ultra short Drap Techs here from Deluxe, and I got their new color, that like super ridiculously bright green. So it came out really good. Again, these were parts I got for the Class 0, but that's kind of moving off to the side, so we're gonna mess it up. But I was like, they're already 80, so they will work perfect for the new build, and we will go from there. Said I do need to make I think I have one. I might have a G13 left somewhere hidden around here. So, but I do have winches, ESCs. I know I have an extra yellow jacket somewhere. So, electronic wise should be nice and ready to rock and roll for the new Class 1. Body I think the body will be here tomorrow. So that'll be good. I do have to do a little bit of work on it to make it Class 1 ready for Crawl Palooza, because they require the normal 50% tire coverage. So we'll see how all of that goes. Also looks like it's going to be it's a pretty easy fix. And actually I ordered an extra set of fender flares for a body, and I'm like, you know what, those are actually going to work, I think, on the Class 1 body. Yes, they're on. But anyways, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up here shortly. As I said, been a couple weeks, but I needed to want to hop on. I was gone for Apex, and then last week just kind of took a nice relaxing week, but wanted to get on here all I could. Might kind of be how it is right now, maybe just every other week or something like that, or I may consider switching the live stream nights. We'll see what happens. But said I think that's basically everything now. Just said we'll work on the next couple new ones. I'll get a video going on the C1, but it probably won't hit for a while. So we'll do a video on Class 0, getting it ready to rock and roll, and see what else I can mess with. Oh, and update on ESCs and other fun stuff like that. So there are a few other little ones that I've been messing with and trying stuff like that. So we'll get some videos here and there knocked out, but it's just been plenty of other stuff going on lately with some events in the house and everything else. So anyways, I do appreciate everyone for tuning in, hanging out as always. Much appreciated, really. Always enjoy hanging out, talking with everybody. Always good times. Seeing what everyone's up to and stuff like that. So until next time, everyone.